Cancer, this is a tarot reading for the biggest issue that you will face in 2026. What is the big issue for Cancer? Damsel, understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. Okay, let's get some tarot. I've already shuffled. Oh gosh. Okay, so you're trying to keep all your balls in the air, juggling while still maintaining, and this is you here as well, the Queen of Cups, still maintaining some level of compassion, sensitivity, spirituality, intuition. We've also got the King of Wands reversed and the Five of Swords reversed. So, not willing to go all the way to being like a ruthless tyrant, but you do find yourself in the position of some sort of leadership. So you're sort of seen here as juggling between wanting to be your sensitive, soft, compassionate self and a side of you that lays down the law and is an authority figure. And you're kind of struggling with that side because you're not wanting to go too far, take things too far. Sorry for the glare. I still haven't figured out what to do about that, but whatever. Yeah, that didn't help at all. Okay, so what's the challenge? What's the biggest challenge for you surrounding this issue? Hold on to what you find valuable. Take things seriously. Find the truth of the situation and have a renewed hope and emotion and love for it. And with the Empress, to make it easy, it seems very challenging for you to balance those two aspects of yourself, especially to hold boundaries up. With Ace of Swords and Ace of Cups, to be truthful, to be honest, to find victory, and to do it in an emotional, satisfying way, but when matters are serious surrounding your values. All right. So it's sort of like the play between femininity and masculinity here, about leaning, following, being intuitional and being assertive or logical. So there was a plan or a strategy, a new way of doing things that led you up to this point where you've reached this issue in 2026. Communication was made towards someone who was not willing to give up their resources or their finances. And there was something learned about that, something that you learned about that, about the nature of hard work and repeating patterns, and not wanting to compete too much for anything. So you had a plan and you took it to this person, and you just, whether this was like a parental figure or a spouse, could have been a boss or a financier of some sort. Doesn't mean you necessarily had to know this person very well, but you took this unusual and strategy and creative idea to this person, and you learned a lot about what it was going to take, because you're in a place right now where you're not able to compete for what it is that you want. So this could have looked like, you wanted to buy a house, or you wanted to get a promotion or start a new career, and you learn a lot about what it's going to take for you to get what you're looking for, because whoever you went to, they said no, or they had higher standards than what you were able to meet. So you made a firm decision to move out of a place of anxiety and fearfulness and worry, over worrying about it. You made a decision to say, you know what, fuck it. And that's because you feel like you've found your truth, and you feel like something clicked about what's worth fighting for and what is true to you, the value in all of this, and that you'll have it. There's a bit of faith here as well. You just decided, I'm not going to worry about it anymore, and I'm going to hold true to what I believe is right, and I'm going to continue out there looking for opportunities, even though this thing didn't work out, because my wish fulfillment is what matters most, and I have to hold to that and have faith with that. So what are you going to be thinking about in the midst of this big issue? How relationships didn't work out, past failed relationships, dissatisfaction with what's being offered, predicting heartbreak before it happens as well. So that's looking at like, I'm just going to fail again, especially in terms of relationships. And you're wanting marriage, maybe, or you're wanting something that is more stable and secure, or with a legal foundation, a contract, and then King of Swords. Uh, Even doing something like teaching, something to do with science or the medical industry, math, anything STEM related, um, computer science or something like that. Um, Thinking about going back to school as well. Or it's like whatever this agreement or relationship that didn't work out in the past, you're like, I cannot put all my eggs in that type of basket. I'm looking more for something that can feed me intellectually and materially, and it's more pragmatic. And it's also a level up for you as well. From a queen starting out here at the Queen of Cups to the King of Swords. It's like, well, my emotions took me to a place where I was not getting what I wanted when I asked for it, that I came up with a plan and it wasn't good enough. And I've learned that, just working hard alone won't make you complete either. And you're not willing to go back into the chaos. If this was a past relationship, it's just like I'm not doing that right now. I've got bigger issues on the horizon. So yeah, what's the most likely thing to happen next for Cancer? Steady work, steady pay, steady effort. So things are kind of in a holding pattern. Not a lot of support here from friends or going out or anything like that. In fact, there's more rest than ever before, as a means of healing. So you're looking at the bright side. You're trying to be idealistic. You're trying to be optimistic, and you also have recognized that you need to isolate yourself a little bit from more of those social engagements for your emotional well-being, because that's something that's a challenge here, is gaining victory while still being emotionally fulfilled or emotionally well. And so that's something that you're kind of I'm looking at you doing that, where it's like, I'm doing some work, but I'm not overdoing it. I'm not going out too much or doing too many social engagements, because I need my rest for my optimism and positive attitude and positive outlook. There's a lot of options open to you soon. Could be another relationship, but one that's more like a, well, you have this, I have that, let's get together, and the best of both worlds type of thing, less than heightened emotions or passions and things like that. It's more logical and more pragmatic for sure. So, what's the word of warning for Cancer with this big issue? Some burdens are not worth having. They sap all of your energy, your desire, your motivation. They don't help anyone really, truly, and are better left dead. So if you are carrying any type of burdens that both sap your energy and aren't really helping anyone in the grand scheme of things, it's time. Source says it's time. Let it go. Get it out. Bring it to an end. To both my end cards, Ten of Swords in the World. Bring it to a complete and total end. And your engagement with it, because however, for whatever reason you might have picked those things up, it's looking like now is a time where you've got to put your rest and relaxation first. You're trying to juggle a lot. It's hard for you to, take more authority, an authoritarian take sometimes, where even with the damsel card, it's like maybe you've been more passive and now you need to take authority, but like those times when you have in the past, it makes you feel as though that you're being too harsh, too critical. It's too all or nothing here, and you're looking for greater balance. And I mean, the time is right just because you realize that a lot of this you're going to have to do on your own. So you have to be both people. This is very much like I would see this for someone that's a single parent, especially a single mother. Like I have to be the authority. I have to be the breadwinner. I also have to be the caretaker and the compassionate one, and the respite of healing and hope and emotional comforts to whoever, to my children or whoever it might be. So it's like you're having to balance two parts of your whole this year. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. You know, I think this is probably the most remarkable part of this reading thus far is making a clear and firm decision to stop worrying about your future and follow your calling and what you know to be true. And continue to look outwards, continue to look out for new opportunities and make plans and know that the world is your oyster and really have faith in the universe. That's really a remarkable step that you took recently. That's showing up in the recent past. So it's showing me that that's how you've gotten to this situation here, as you were able to do that, which is awesome. So the person that's going to be the most important for Cancer in the circumstance here, this could be your child with a Page of Cups or a pet, someone who is optimistic and emotional, very sensitive, very childlike and delicate emotionally, could have moods, but also offers so much love. And then the star, the shining light, the hope, the promise of renewal, the promise of health, even to the ends of the devil reverse. So to get you out of things that have you entrapped and encircled, even if it was of your own doing. It's a beacon of light and a lot of motivation for you to let go of things that you had created that were harming you, and also to it's both an inspiration to run into difficulty because that's what's right and what's needed. It gives you the courage to do so, but it also is getting you out of a pattern of situations where you entrap yourself with greater and greater burdens and more worries, which we see you handling both those here. And now you're breaking free from those chains of worrying about too much about things, of taking on more than you can handle or more than that is truly your responsibility, and to break that cycle of constant running from and running back into chaos. So they're definitely a source of healing and hope for you. I did get the sun reversed at the base of the deck there. I think that whoever this person is to you, or if it's a child or a pet or something like that, there's not a lot of illumination on their part about what you've been going through. There may be some things that they're going to see you a little bit lower energy or more sad or struggling some and be confused about that. And it's down to you to communicate very clearly and effectively that you're following your truth, that you strongly believe in what you're doing, and that you are prepared to use your judgment to clear up any issues that may arise. What's the word of solace? Hangman, you've got a brand new perspective. And what comes of that? You've healed the heartbreak. You've healed your broken heart and have moved on past that. So those types of things won't come up to bite you anymore. Three of Pentacles reversed. I think you mostly did this on your own and without very much knowledge or teaching or mastery over it. Not a lot of background in working towards faith and working your way out of anxiety. And for that, I would say it's very remarkable that you were able to do that on your own, but it's regardless, it's afforded you a new perspective, one that you're not going to have to go back to where you were again. At this point, with this issue, waiting it out provides the benefits and the reaping of the rewards. So it's just something you're going to have to watch and wait on. You've already laid a lot of the foundation and groundwork here. And finding that balance is just going to be the dance that you're working through of being everything in your own life or to other people, to people who are dependent on you or whatever it might be. But in the word of solace, it's saying that this new change in perspective of having faith in both what you believe is true and what you believe is possible is leading you to wait for the right opportunity to be able to strike gold with the Queen of Pentacles. You're also waiting for things to kind of develop as they will, and trust that you're always going to have enough money to cover expenses and then some. You're definitely sitting pretty here with all of this. And yeah, I think even though it may seem like you're an outsider to the situation, if you're outsider to maybe some of those groups or families or friend groups or workplaces, wherever, like you did see here with the Four of Swords, there's more isolation there for you, and stepping back from social engagements, and it may feel like you're more isolated, but you're tending your garden, and you don't owe any fucking thing to anybody with the Knight of Cups reversed. You know, you don't owe them a pleasant attitude. You don't owe them, bringing forth good cheer and I love yous or anything like that. You get to choose now who you feed and even who you starve, and in a very harsh way to put it. But I would definitely consider who takes more than they give. Uh, and in doing that, you're really valuing what you have to offer and what they get from you. A lot of times, especially for water signs, but really anybody, it could be something intangible like your presence, your energy, your compassion, your acceptance, loving words, lifting people up, being thoughtful. Yeah, even just your presence, like that gives a great deal. And especially to a sign like Cancer, it can also take a great deal from you because you only have a limited amount of social energy. So, yeah, remember what you offer to relationships and people, and make sure that it's an equal response and not a non equal, giving more than you receive. Been a common theme for these readings so far. So, what's the end result here for Cancer? The Emperor. I love this. Absolutely, I love this. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. You're going to figure this out. This whole matter with the King of Wands reversed, you're going to find the right action, right purpose, and what it means to be an authority figure and to be an emperor. You already have a lot of Empress energy here, especially with the Queen of Cups and then the Queen of Pentacles. You have that kind of softer, feminine, like, and if you're a man, understand that the feminine signs are talking about being more receptive or more pragmatic, being more emotional and intuitive, or being more resourceful and problem solving. With the two signs that you're looking to go into, the fire and the air, and if you remember, if you know about astrology, all of the major outer planets have just moved from water and earth signs, feminine signs, into fire and air signs, masculine signs. So you're right in there in the cut, and as a Cancer, you're kind of on the heartbeat of humanity a lot of times. So it's not a surprise that this would be something that you're looking at in 26. But by the end of it all, you do find out what it looks like to be an emperor. So I'll tell you, it's someone who is always ready to charge into action, to solve problems, to make things happen, to take action. They don't need to be told what to do. They can tell others what to do, but they do so in a type of delegation of power and an organizational structure where it's like, if someone's lacking direction or purpose, the emperor is able to say, this is what you can do to get the results that you're looking for. They're a leader both at the front of the line and at the in the back of the line. I guess what I'm trying to say is that they lead by example always. So if we were talking about war, they would be in the infantry running in with the charge. If we're talking about like at a homeless shelter, they're the one that's sitting with the people and they're feeding them and donating their time. The emperor does first and takes action on what the feminine aspect, and if that's included both in one person as it is in you, the feminine aspect intuits what should be done, what is really important, what's of true value here, Judgment card, about purpose, and also what's worth having faith in, and what's worth feeding. And then the emperor gets the food and puts it on the plate, So it's nothing more than taking action, taking charge, and claiming authority over your own life and what happens in your life. And I think that when you're talking about even like with children and disciplining children, learning that it's okay for you to set expectations, the softer side of yourself can can empathize and understand why things had happened the way they were. But the stronger or the more authoritative boundary setting side of yourself can say, however, there are consequences to this, and here they are, and be comfortable and okay and even grateful that you're able to set those for kids in a safe place, where it's more easily learned and before things get out of control, right? It's important to make those boundaries known and provide consequences for everyone's best interest. What else happens? Nine of Cups. Yeah, I mean, you're keeping it real. You're not sugarcoating shit, especially when it comes to these anybody else that used to have expectations, any other responsibilities that you walked away from, any other people that were like, hey, Cancer, where are you? You know, you were supposed to come to this family birthday. And it's just like, no, I got better shit to do. Sorry about you. I love you, all my love. But also I got better shit to do. The Knight of Cups reverse says, I got better shit to do. Not like, oh, I would have really loved to be there, but I got sick, but you're lying. No, I got better shit to do. I'm sorry, some things are just not worth your fucking time. Magician reverse. At this point, by the end of this reading here, and the King of Cups reverse, there's something you're moving towards, but you don't yet have the mastery or skill level to get there. So that's sort of like a peek ahead of what you're going to be working on after you complete this little mission here in 26 of balancing your softer feminine side with your more masculine authoritative side. And what's coming up for you is being like an emotional leader and emotional guidance force and taking action towards that. So I don't really know. That's vague to me. That could even be you moving towards a King of Cups type. But really, it's more about leveling up to a new, like, it's still you, it's still your compassionate, sensitive self, but it's used in a way that I don't even want to say used, it's channeled into ways that help you have and retain strong boundaries, still get stuff done. Don't put up with no bullshit, and show more leadership and more authority, and even be able to teach and lead others in that way. All right, let's get clarifying life situation card for you real quick. For Cancer, given their situation of their big issue in 2026. This one has kept coming out, stayed coming out, all these. I'm putting those back, so I'm like, okay, Cancer, Cancer, Cancer. Shape the sculpture of self, honoring the perpetual act of forming and expressing identity. So this is a self-actualization thing. It's up to you to decide what type of person you want to show up to the world in as. All right, Harmony's call. Embrace equality and pursue justice. Keep an open mind as answers unveil your path to balance. This is talking about all of this. The duality dance. Look at that. You've got the jester. Who do we have right at the jump? We've got the jester here. The duality. Seek balance amid the chaos and find harmony within yourself. This is all about balancing out your nature. And then coming into this with the damsel, it's definitely telling the story of, I mean, you can even see it in the shadow attribute here, searching, waiting for a knight to provide for you, seduction by a romantic illusion. So like if that's telling any type of story about where you've come from, that you've been waiting for someone to charge in and help you, and you even like came up with a plan and communicated clearly, and this person said, no, fuck you. And you're like, okay, well then I'm going to have to go back to school, or I'm going to have to work my ass off because I can't compete with the way that I currently am because this person wouldn't step up. That really galvanized you into understanding that you need greater balance and greater holisticness of having that softness and that strength. Both need to be at play for you to move forward. All right, let's grab a card for Cancer. I want to be clear. Let's be clear with a card for Cancer for 2026, facing your big issue. Okay, I'll take the Panther. 39. You don't need to apologize for who you are. The spirit of the panther says, let yourself be seen. It is time to love yourself and let people love you just the way you are. It is only through vulnerability that true love can be assessed, but it is a risk. Only through vulnerability that true love can be accessed. But it's a risk because it means you allow people to see yourself fully, including the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of. And it can be scary, but it's the only way to open yourself up for healing. By being vulnerable, you stop feeling sorry for yourself and stop apologizing for who you are. You start taking up space in a sincere and loving way. And this healing expands to the people around you. They can feel safe, and we all need the safety and being able to be human without having to pretend we are perfect. Daring, feeling vulnerable, being honest, being intimate, forming genuine connections, and being authentic. That is your sign and symbol, my dear, for 2026. One last card from your angels. You're going to get two. Look around and find some signs. The universe is speaking to you. Just ask for the signs. I can't tell you how many times this card has come out. It's like if you're not asking for signs, you're missing out on so much. And if you're already like watching tarot, you're open to it, right? So just ask for a sign and trust it when you see it too. I think you're more practiced than you used to be with the Judgment card. You understand what that looks and feels like now, and that's such a win. All right. Your life is so special. Treat it with loving care. I love that. If you like that too, please like and subscribe. I also have rising sign readings for monthly checkups. I have Venus sign readings for love and relationships. And hopefully that was helpful to you. Let me know what you thought and take a really good care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye.